Okay, so I think we're live. So just well, let me get sorted. So this is day 2 of my live post. So if you can hear me, and I haven't cut my head off in the video because I'm filming this on my iPhone and it's kind of on the main camera, so I'm looking at the back of the phone. So if you can just click a yes, just to say that you can hear me on this video. I'm just setting things up here. That will be super cool just while we're getting going. And also if you can see my if you can see my head, I haven't kind of chopped the top of my head off or something. Hopefully that hasn't happened today. It hasn't happened yet. I think we're okay. All right, okay. So today we're going to be talking about a common problem that so many people have, whether you're talking to camera or whether you're giving a presentation at work or as part of your job, or maybe just speaking up at a meeting, and you fear that you have too many ums and ahs in what you're saying, or maybe you've been given some feedback or been commented on that there are too many ums and ahs in what you say, and it's become kind of a little bit of an issue that you fear that you might be distracting people and giving too many or including too many ums and ahs in what you say. So if that's you, and if that has either held you back or stopped you wanting to speak more, where, as I say, whether it's at work or in a meeting or giving a presentation or making videos like this, if it's kind of become a bit of a stumbling block for you, then this video, what I'm going to be sharing with you today, is going to be useful, I think, because as I'm going to mention, I'm kind of the king of the ums and ahs. I've been working with that for years, so I'm going to be sharing some ideas there, some pointers, and giving you some tips so that you can become more aware of how you speak really well and your authenticity, and it's you just feel relaxed about giving that talk, whatever talk it is. So just before we get started, I just wanted to mention that my speaker training program is now live. The doors are open if you want to check that out, and just go to the website. So that's mikeblissett.com/speak. You'll see that link is just either above or below this video. So that's mikeblissett.com/speak, and you can check out what's in it and what's involved and what it's how it's going to add value to what you do in your business, in your presentations, in the videos you make, in your positioning, in your branding, all the rest of it. And you sharing just some of your energy, your good stuff, the best of who you are in video is just such an incredible way to share what you do with the world. And so that's why I think video, or even live as we're doing now, is a great thing. So as I say, just go over to the website mikeblissett.com/speak. So you can either type that into your URL, or you can or into your browser, or you can just click that URL, that link somewhere around this video. I've included that there as well. So when it comes to speaking really, really well to camera, and that's just so important, or whether it's making a great impact in a meeting, it's so important because I can't remember who said it, but you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So I get it. I understand that it's if you can shine in the best way that you possibly can, and talk as easily and eloquently and interestingly and all the various kind of adjectives there to impress people. I get it. That's what you want, and I guess that's what people who are listening to you, whether it's at home, in the office, or wherever they're listening to you, they want you to impress them and entertain them and keep them enthralled and all that kind of stuff as well, that good stuff. So if you have a fear that you maybe stumble sometimes, or maybe when you get nervous, there are more kind of filler words like ums and ahs and kindas and maybes, and all these kind of filler words kind of creep in to the point where you fear it kind of starts to detract from what you do. Then it becomes an issue, because not so much the filler words, but the fear that it's become an issue, that it's a distraction, that this kind of monkey mind, this chatterbox thing that's going on for you, almost like editing and starting to critique yourself in real time as you're doing it. It can be a real challenge. It's enough to be able to remember what you're going to say and talk without having this conversation within your mind while you're doing it in real time and it's being critical of you. That's a whole, that's a tough gig. That's a tough gig. And I know from a lot of the people I work with, especially in businesses when I'm doing kind of the live version of the Speak Like a Pro online, the mini workshops, the presentation skills workshops that I do for various organizations, that sometimes people have this chatterbox, this kind of critiquing and judging, or self-judging, self-critiquing, even before they've started a presentation, even before they've opened their mouth, actually even a day or two or a few weeks before, when you know something is coming up. This kind of whole judgment call comes on, and that sometimes people get some people call in sick at work because they just get so stressed and so nervous and shy, and the anxiety is going there. And so I kind of get it, I really do, because as I say, I'm sure you probably know my story. If we're meeting for the first time, hi, I'm Mike. But if you met me before, probably know some of my story. Until I was in my mid-20s, I had a really, really bad stutter. I couldn't say my name. And just one thing that's most people who stammer do is they have filler words. And sometimes when we fear a stutter or a stammer, or a word that we know is going to trip us up is going to come up in what we're going to say, we'll put a different word in front of it, or instead of it, or we'll do an or an r. And so, when I said at the beginning of this video, I'm the king of ums and ahs, I think I really am. And because of that, I've actually learnt some techniques and some skills through the years, because working in presentation skills and on the stage, and I was a singer for many years, and now I'm a trainer and speaker. I've learnt how to kind of look at that and redress that, rather than critique it and criticize it. So I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ideas, 3 top tips, things that I do and that I've shared with tons of people, and the people I work with as a coach and a trainer as well. And my hope is that you're going to take these and just consider how you can slot them into your next presentation, or your next video, or your next whatever it is that you need to give at work, at home, or on camera like this, etc. And then just notice the difference. See how it feels easier, it feels natural, it's not difficult, and you feel a whole lot better. And I think you, as that speaker, as that presenter, as that trainer, coach, whatever it is you are, if you feel a whole lot better, chances are what you're saying is going to sound a whole lot better too. So just before we get started, just to mention, there are some more ideas, loads of ideas in the program. Just go to my website, mikeblissett.com/speak. You'll see that link somewhere around this video, mikeblissett.com/speak, and you'll just get tons more information, loads more help and assistance and ideas and good stuff to help you speak better and speak like a pro. Right, so it's interesting that this is a common theme that comes up, that people fear that they're not eloquent or smooth or impressive enough as a speaker. I did the video yesterday, and somebody commented, and thank you, by the way, for the comment, just said that, yeah, but it's easy for you, Mike. And I take it. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's a great comment. But it's interesting because as I say, I couldn't speak for half my life. So, what I do now, I've learned. And I think there are, by the way, that was an there. There are loads of different types of speakers out there and different levels of entertainment, kind of pizzazz value and all the rest of it. I think what I'm going to be talking about in this video is what's right for you. I was watching a video just before I did a quick Google search. I mentioned about researching and finding content yesterday. So I just did a quick Google search before I started this on ums and ahs, and I found one of the results that came back was a video on YouTube. Obviously, that's where the videos are, and it's a Google search and Google and YouTube. There you go. And one of the video returns that I got back, and I watched the video. I watched part of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. Was a speech coach, and he was interviewed by somebody, and for his expertise on how to take out ums and ahs, how to overcome too many ums and ahs in a presentation or when you speak or whatever it is. And so he was there as the expert, and he just some of the comments, just some of the words he described ums and ahs. He was saying things like, they're tics. It's verbal garbage, and I'm just thinking, wow, they're really strong kind of descriptions. Almost like sometimes people take something like that and wear it as a badge, like they can't speak or they can't give a presentation or they can't shine on video because I've got this thing. It's called verbal garbage. Too many ums and ahs. I'm just thinking that's not a great way to kind of describe what we all do naturally. And I've worked with scientists, I've worked with physicists, I've worked with what I class as really brainy people in my 16 plus years as a coach. And all I can say is, in certain situations when people are considering and thinking aloud, they all do ums and ahs. Okay, so it is a natural human thing to do. Equally, you've probably been subjected to or listened to a speaker. I remember my physics teacher, I can't remember his name, too many years ago at school, and he would present a lesson so slowly and precisely that it was just like watching paint dry. It was just one of the hardest things to listen to. Now, I can't remember exactly, but I've seen other speakers since then and something in a similar way, maybe not quite that slow, and they're very precise, very rehearsed, and there are no ums, there are no ahs, there are no tics, there are no filler words, nothing. It's just clean. And it's so clean, it's not, there's kind of a disconnect because nobody really talks like that. Whereas sometimes people speak and there's so many filler words and there's so many kinders and shoulders and, ums and ahs and it's just littered all over the place, and I understand it can become a distraction. So my way of looking at this is to find that balance. Number one, accept that you probably do some filler words. You've got some favorite words, and sometimes our favorite words come in and out of our consciousness, become our favorite words. It's like the favorite word of the month, and then we'll move on to a different word next month. And I know that in previous videos I watched of mine, things like kinda. I went through a phase where I used kinda a lot, and I wasn't actually consciously aware of saying kinda until I watched the videos back. And so that's interesting. There's nothing wrong with kinda. It's just that the amount of times I was using it in like a 3-minute video or a 5-minute video became a little bit of a distraction, at least for me. So it's not about taking the word kinda out of the vocabulary. It's just maybe finding that balance where it's still maybe used because it's a natural word to use, but it's not a distracted word. And the same with ums and ahs and all that stuff as well. So I guess the first thing is, and the first step, and by the way, I'm going to be mentioning the 3 top tips to go with this. If you want more in this, as I say, go to the website, mikeblissett.com/speak, or click that link somewhere around the video and you get loads more on this. So step number 1 is, and I've got my notes in the best traditions of any trainer here. Step number 1 is to map out your talk or presentation, what you're going to say. Now, I've used the word advisedly there, map out, in that it's what works best for you. Now, I'm a bullet point person. I'm way too lazy to write long sentences and the whole verbatim what I'm going to say, because I get bored reading it and writing it and it wouldn't sound natural for me. So I write bullet points just so that I know in my head what I'm going to say. And so when I say map out, it's whatever works for you, whether it's a presentation that you need to give in a meeting, or maybe you've got a talk to give to a group, or maybe you are speaking and doing video blog posts, or even making some online training or a course, etc. So map out your talk in the way that works best for you, so that you know what you're going to say. And then the second step, or the second point, is to practice. Now, if you are a member of my online community, if you get my newsletters, if you watch some of my other videos, you'll know that practice is kind of a recurring theme. If there's one thing I've got from all those years as a singer and working in showbiz, is that however natural something looks, it's on stage, it's as a result of practice. In the theatre they call it rehearsal, and I think Malcolm Gladwell, in one of his books, I think it was Outliers, talked about this concept of how long he suggests it might take to become an expert, whatever an expert is in an industry, and he suggests it's around 1,000 hours. Now, I think it's a great concept. I love the idea that he captured it. I don't know whether it's 1,000 hours for everybody, because it's not just about the hours, it's about how much concentration and skill and effort you put into that time. So for some people it could be much shorter, some people it just maybe could be forever. All I can say is, after working on the stage for probably in various guises, as a singer and doing stand-up and training and speaking, so all that is it's certainly more than 30 years, it's probably even more than that. All I can say is I'm still learning. So I'm one of those people that it's even longer than 1,000 hours. It's just CPD, continual professional development as a speaker. So step 2 is to practice. And if you can, when you're talking through your notes, whether they're bullet points or whether you are writing verbatim, whatever it is, what you're going to say, a great technique to become aware of how you are presenting is to, while you're practicing, not when you're doing it for real, but while you're practicing, do it at half speed. Now, it's going to feel weird, okay? Weird is good, okay? All I can say is, when actors and singers and presenters and professional speakers are in the rehearsal room, we do weird and wonderful things to try and make what we eventually do for real shine. Okay, so weird is good. So when you're practicing your talk, your presentation, whatever you're going to speak about, do it at half speed. And particularly, I want you to become aware of how you feel, how you produce the sounds. In coaching, we say become fully present. So not thinking about whether it sounds good or not, or the monkey mind, the chatterbox going on there, but to be fully present and listening to how you're saying. I was at a mindfulness meditation group last night. I go to one each week on a Monday. And it's kind of that. If you were to become mindful just of you speaking in the moment, stepping through your presentation, whether it's, as I say, bullet point notes or a mind map or maybe verbatim script, whatever you might write down, and do it at half speed and be fully present, be mindful of how that feels. Now, all that is a technique for you to become more concentrated in the words, because the thing is, filler words usually come when our mind is racing a little bit quicker than we're speaking, and so when there's a gap, we have to fill it with something because we're going at such a rate mentally. We need to fill it with something, and we fill it with easy words like and ah and kinda, So, and that's probably another one. And so, practicing at half speed can really help, just to slow the mind down. And when the mind slows down, it can actually listen to what you're saying. And so that is a good technique to, as I say, to practice. Not just a one-off practice, but practice this, regularly. We're talking about being a professional, a pro speaker, whether it's to camera like this or whether it's in a meeting at work where you're the one that everybody else in the company or the organization, they can't wait for when you address a meeting because you're the interesting one, because you've done something like this. Or maybe you have a presentation or a speech to give and you shine because you've done something like this. So this is not just a one-off exercise. This is something, I think, all I can say is professionals, they do this. It's part of what they do, especially when they're adding something to an existing speech, a new part of it, or maybe coming up with something new, a new presentation, training, speech, whatever it is. It's part of what they do, okay? So this is about being a pro. So slow down. If you can do half speed, whatever half speed is, and just become fully aware of how you're presenting it, how you're speaking, maybe your mannerisms. I'm saying not being judgmental or critical, just being fully present and mindful of exactly what that is. And just that process will take out the majority of the filler words, the ums and the ahs and the kindas and the whatever else you might have. Okay, they're the three that I use, and I think they're quite common. And so then the third step, the third top tip, is to record yourself doing your presentation, not at half speed, because well, you can do if you want to. It might be funny to watch back, and there's always space for humor. That's good. But no, what I mean is record yourself a bit like this. It can be on your smartphone, or you don't have to have a fancy camera for this, or even on your computer. If you've got a little kind of web, is it webcam in the top of it? I've got one on my Mac, so it doesn't really matter. It's not for public consumption here, unless you want to put it on your Facebook post or YouTube or whatever. But this is just really intended for you to look back and see how you deliver your presentation. Again, all I can say is professionals do this, whether they're singers, actors, stand-up comedians, musicians, trainers, professional speakers. We all do this. We record, we go through all the steps I've mentioned so far, and rehearse. So practice. And then we start recording ourselves giving the presentation. It could be in our living room or in our office, converted bedroom at home. It doesn't really matter. It could be in an auditorium or in the boardroom. It doesn't matter. The point is, record you giving your presentation, just speaking to the camera, and try to be as in the moment as if the people were there or if it was for real, and record it and then play it back and just observe. Again, be mindful of how you presented it. And it might be that, almost like in a recording studio, there's the mixing desk and you've got your slider to turn things up and down, or maybe to turn the volume up and down on your radio or something. It might be that with mannerisms or gestures or filler words or ums and ahs, you just might want to turn it down a little bit, or maybe adjust it a little bit, or maybe your tonality, adjust a little bit. It could be that it's too quick and too high energy and it's tiring, or it could be a little bit mournful and slow. And it's just a little bit, again, most of the great speakers that you've ever seen, whether it's on TV, it could be presidents, it could be inspirational speakers, trainers, your favorite teacher at school or whatever. One of the techniques they have is they vary a little bit like a roller coaster, how they present. Now, you don't have to go to that degree, but as I say, just be aware of how you present to camera and just see if that's a way that fits well for you. Okay, so that's the third step. So run through them very quickly one more time. Number one is to map out your talk or presentation, what you're going to say in whatever way it is for you, whether it's a mind map or bullet points. I do bullet points, or whether it's something a longer form, even verbatim like a script. It's up to you, whatever works for you, but to map it out so you know what you're going to say. Number two is to practice, and if you can practice at half speed, so you become fully present, mindful of how you are presenting, not just verbally, but also I'm using my hands here, and there's nothing wrong with using your hands. I had a teacher at school and in geography, and when you needed to give a presentation, she was of the belief that she never did it, but she used to threaten to tape our hands to our waist, so we just kept them by our sides, because you said you shouldn't be descriptive. You should be able to speak with your words, not with your body language. Of course, it's nuts, it's crazy, seriously. And but as I say, you can practice this in your presentation. If you're doing it half time, I'd encourage you to do it half time, just to be aware of all that stuff that's going on, and just by being mindful and having space to think, because you are speaking at half time, it's going to relieve a lot of the fillers and the kind of, to the point where some things are kind of distracting. It's not going to kind of obliterate them, because we don't want to be a blank sheet of paper. We don't want to be that kind of boring clinical speaker. We still want to be colorful and human or authentic. But as I say, just find that balance that's right for you. And then the third step is to record yourself and adjust as necessary, really. So from my point of view, when I'm training with people and when I'm working with people in my online course, and we have there's a live expert Q&A and training and Zoom calls and stuff, and so even though we might be in different countries, we're still kind of in the same Zoom room. And something I say to all of them is that to be authentic, to be the real you. If you think of the speakers that you naturally watch, you're naturally entertained by and interested and excited to listen to, whether it's on YouTube or live or whatever, these people are not usually perfect speakers. We think they're perfect. That's because they're the whole package. But actually, if you look at the dynamics of what they're doing, they've got filler words, they've got tics, they've got stumbles, they stammer sometimes, they lose track, their hands are wild sometimes. And you put that all together with who they are, their personality of who they are, and what they're being is totally authentic. And that's the sign of a great speaker. So hopefully that has been useful for you, because it is about, if I could help you to feel more confident about giving the presentations that you give, whether they are, as I say, in the boardroom, in a group, or to a camera like this, if I can just help you feel more confident about just being you, and the best version of you, maybe a bit more practiced, a bit more logical, that you mapped it out, and just more flowing, so you don't fear stumbling over a filler word or an or an R, or whatever it is, and just be you. Whatever happens, happens, and that's what makes it you. That's the best thing. That's the kind of speaker I want to listen to. Okay, so hopefully, and if you look on if you ever do any research on YouTube and find the videos with the most views, with the 21 million views or whatever, you just notice these people are individual, they're authentic, but they're not perfect speakers. They're just being completely themselves. So hopefully that gives space for the rest of us. Okay. So as I say, hopefully that has been useful for you. So just to wrap up, if you have any questions following on from today, if you want to ask me anything that you maybe want me to help you with in a future video, because I'm going to be making these videos daily now, please leave a comment in the box below, in whichever platform you're watching this on. And if you've been watching it this live, thank you. I really do appreciate this. If you're watching it on catch up, where were you? But no, seriously, if you're watching this on catch up on record, thank you. I really do appreciate that. As I say, if you have any questions, if you've got any comments, if you want to ask me anything, just leave your questions, your comments in the boxes below. I will gladly get back to you. And also, if it's something you want me to make a video on about presentation skills, speaking to camera, etc., content, scripting, delivery, research, all the rest of it, promoting your business, using it as part of your business, all the kind of things I do and what I do, that's how I work with people, that's how I coach and train with people. Just leave your comments and your questions there, and I will make a video about it in the next coming up days, because I'm going to be doing this daily as well. So thanks again for watching. As I say, just one last time, just to remind you, the doors are now open for my online course, Speak Like a Pro Online. And all you have to do, if you want to check it out, see what's involved in that, and what extras and bonuses and what you can expect to achieve as a result of doing Speak Like a Pro Online, just go to my website, mikeblissett.com/speak, and you'll find out all the goodies there. So mikeblissett.com/speak. It's been great talking with you again. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.